microphones are turned off, and wait for any of the questions and raise your hand. You can, with your little hand, you can raise your little hand and wait till the end to ask questions. So with us today is Juanita Quiñones Gandara, and she was born in Ciudad Juarez and raised in El Paso. Her parents made a lot of sacrifice to bring to the United States and live the American dream. Juanita is a, I'm sorry, she's a single mom of Mark and Matthew. She's a retired educator, and she is currently living her second dream. Ms. Gandara graduated from the University of Texas, El Paso, and with her degree in bilingual education, and obtained her master's degree from Sul Ross University in guidance and counseling. She's worked over 30 years in the school district, both as a teacher and as a counselor. Today, she is a children's book author and educational consultant and founder of SEL, Social Emotional Learning, and anti-bullying program named Zoila's Words. Zoila's Words of Wisdom. She's a speech motivator and owner of Zoila the Zebra. Her goal is to empower and encourage others, helping change very negative situations on bullying into a more positive one. And so without further ado, here's Juanita to tell us more about her book.
Just very quickly before she starts, I want everybody to know that we are recording this.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. As Patricia was kind enough to mention, my name is Juanita Quiñones Gandara, and I am a very proud retired educator. I was a school counselor for 20 school years, and I was a bilingual for 10 years. And I know you're looking at me and saying, but oh my God, how can that be? She looks so young, right? Anyway, you're supposed to laugh. Anyway, that's my line, and I always tell everybody that it's important to have fun while you're doing what you love to do. And what I'm on here today telling everyone that I'm living my second dream. And I don't know how that sounds to you, but I literally am. My story is sort of kind of like a miracle story, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about it. I wouldn't be an author today if I had not been introduced to this gentleman who today is now my amazing co-author, and his name is Dr. Mark Bowles. Well, I met this gentleman over the phone introduced by a colleague, and long story short, you're going to have to invite me back so I can tell you the whole story. But basically, he asked me two questions over the phone, and he said, Juanita, would you consider writing a book? And at first I said, no, I'll be very honest with you. I said, no, sir, I think you have me confused with someone else. I'm a retired counselor. And he says, no, I understand. He says, but would you consider it? And I said, okay, what would it take? And all he said was, look, if you can answer these two questions and consider writing a book, I promise you, you'll know the answer, very soon. So he asked me that what would I want to write the book about, and what would I want to tell the whole world? Oh my gosh, you all, I know those questions don't sound like much, but for me, it gave me homework to do. That night I went to sleep, or almost fell asleep, because all I kept thinking was I was searching my heart and in my mind, and I came up with the idea of writing Zoila the Zebra's Wow. And this is what it's for. Wow for words of wisdom. Now remember the part he asked me about what would you want to have your book be about? Well, I knew the answer to that question right away. I said, yes, I want to be able to share my parents' legacy. Just simply that they were so kind, hardworking, humble, loved everyone, welcomed everyone, and just sacrificed to come to the United States so that myself and my siblings could have a better future and live our American dream. And thankfully, we've done that. And so today, I regret to tell you, my madrecita just left us last November. But you know what? Her memory is well and alive today. And I'm going to share that with you in my book, but I had to tell you all this because you see, I'm going to introduce to you Zoila the zebra. I call myself a local Spanglish author, and you're going to meet Zoila the zebra, the puppet, and in the form of a puppet, but she's also wanting to sing her first song ever written for her, describing exactly living her dream. So if you don't mind, I'm going to put on the song and she's going to sing it for the first time in front of you all along with me. So please bear with us and try not to laugh and just sort of kind of join us if you can. All right? So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and play the song. It's called Mi Sueño, and you can find it on YouTube. Oh, a huge shout out to Julio Ortega, who helped me compose this song, and to our wonderful singer, Miss Catarina Gutierrez, which is also a local talent here in El Paso. She's uprising, so watch out for her. Here it goes. Hi, Zoila. Hi. The long days that I've had, I've only been where I am. I'm living my own dream, mi sueño. Sing my songs, I meet friends of all types. When they read my lines, es mi sueño. Your observation is quite true. This makes me special, just like you. No, ven y te enseñaré how we're different but yet so special. Y vamos, cantamos, Rio Bravo, Rio Grande, the same at the end. Cantamos, Rio Bravo, Rio Grande, it's all the same at the end. She's almost done. You're taller or petite. We all have our dreams. Mi sueño. I will be myself for anyone in need. Bullies not allowed. Observation is quite true. This is special, just like you. How ven y te enseñaré that we're different but yet so special. Y vamos, cantamos, Rio Bravo, Rio Grande. At the end, cantamos, Rio Bravo, Rio Grande. And that was Zoila's first song, you all. So let's give her a big round of applause. Yes, that was Zoila. Why did I have to sing that song? Well, it's a great introduction to our book, you see. So now you're going to be able to relate to it even further. And without further ado, we're going to go over and review Zoila the Zebra's Wow, because it is 30 pages. So we're going to go over the main parts of the book. They're all important, of course. Okay, so the first page, I always like to model to students how Zoila would like for you to try to read the book. Of course, we all have our style. And then down here is Armando the armadillo. And he's Zoila's best amigo. And I will show him to you in a puppet form in just a moment. So this is what Zoila says here. Friends and amigos, hello and hola. I am a zebra and my name is Zoila. And of course, Armando says, hola is Spanish for hello, and an amigo is a friend. I am Armando Armadillo, and I am Zoila's best amigo. You see, he's very proud. And so there you have it. And I'm going to go on to the part where she talks about her autobiography. Let me see if you can sort of see the book. She's there reading her autobiography, and there's Armando listening. And here is the part that I love so much, because she talks about her mother being a homemaker, a cook, and she was just always there for her, ready to feed her when she got home from school. So that was my mamacita, Natalia Quiñones Soto, at your service. And then look, here is my father. My father's name was Prudenciano. They called him Chano. And he used to build rock walls. He had his own business, and he was so hardworking. And again, I'm just very proud to tell you that that's where I get my work ethic. Working hard no matter how hard it gets. And then here in this picture is where I, Zoila, was born. And they used to call me La Pildorita because I was so small. I was 7 months old, you see. And it says, I was born in Ciudad Juarez Chihuahua, Mexico. And we always yearned to live in the grand city of El Paso. The next page shows the American flag and the United States flag. And here comes Zoila crossing the bridge of the Americas once they became legal residents. Here she's flying over the Rio Grande River in her dream. She's so excited to come to El Paso. And in this next picture, you're going to see how sad she is, because you see, she left her friends in Mexico behind. And now it starts sinking in, and she starts worrying about, oh my gosh, what if they don't accept me when I get to El Paso? What if they start bullying me? Pobrecita Zoila. But then she was lucky enough to have such a caring and wonderful mother who always consoled her and told her, but Zoila, amorcito corazón, don't worry, you will make amigos in a hurry. And there she is, her mamacita, telling her. And so she decides to go to school, not very convinced, of course. And then she comes back from school, not very happy. But then something miraculous happens, you all. The next morning, she wakes up and she says, enough, I've had it. You know what? I'm just going to be strong and lead and be a leader like I used to be in Juarez. If anyone is bullied, I will help with great speed. And here she wakes up feeling on top of the world. And she decides to share with everyone, to promote a chain reaction of kindness so there will be bullies no more. And so then she says, oh, I've got the secret. Look, if you start being kind to everyone, you'll start making new friends. And there's Zoila waving to her new friends already, because she came up with her 5 suggestions or words of wisdom on what we as people, as students, as parents, as community members, as everyone have to do in order to stop bullying. In other words, turn a very negative situation on bullying into a more positive one. I want you to imagine practicing every day the following 5 wows. Wow number 1 is the golden rule. Imagine if we treated others the way we want to be treated every day. It's at home. These rules are at school, in the classrooms, all over the schools, out in our community. Wow number 2, my parents always said, Mija, be your best self. You always be humble. It doesn't matter who you grow up to be. You be the same with everyone, and you treat them with respect. You be kind to them. Y luego, mija, cuando tengas dinero, when you have money, share it. Share your wealth. It's on here, you all. I do believe this, because when you give, you receive, don't you? But if you're stingy, boys and girls, you won't receive. And wow number 3, this one really hits home with everyone. I've done parent workshops, and this one says the following. Wow number 3, if you feel angry, students, parents, community members, everyone, stop and think. Take a moment before you open your mouth, before you use your hands and feet. Stop and think. Isn't it simple? Well, it's not. It's not easy to do, but if we practice and hold each other accountable, teachers hold students accountable, students hold teachers accountable, everybody holds everybody accountable. We need to stop this blaming game where, you know, schools sometimes unintentionally blame parents and parents blame schools. We've got to stop that, and we all have to get on the bandwagon. So Zoila says, wow number 4 is communication is key. Hablando se entiende la gente. No gritando, not yelling, not even at home. And then it says, wow number 5, be a good listener. Imagine, parents, if we listen to our children. Imagine, students, if you listen to your teachers. Teachers, imagine if you listen to your students, what a different environment this world would be. And so that's basically the gist of my story. And before I let you go, there's one last song I'm going to perform at the end, and it's a cumbia they also wrote for Zoila and Julio Ortega again. But what I want to ask you is this, and I even wrote it down because I want to make sure that you walk away with these thoughts. My question is, what are you going to do with your life now that you know you can dream? It's never too early or too late to dream. Are you going to decide to be mean, or are you going to change and you're going to start being kind? Are you going to help others, or are you still going to be selfish? Are you going to promise to be your best self or your worst self? Or are you going to communicate and listen? Or are you going to still yell and ignore? So I want to be clear that as long as you believe in yourself, whoever is listening out there, doesn't matter how old you are, and not allow yourself to be afraid, you can be anything you want to be. It's never too early or too late to dream. So again, I know we're running out of time. Hopefully we'll have time to answer some questions, but I'd like to go ahead and sing the last song, and it's called Zoila's Cumbia, and it also connects everything we just talked about, and I hope it entertains you as the first one did. Okay, Zoila, here we go. Zoila's Cumbia. You can clap. Born in Juarez, raised in El Paso. My parents raised me the best they could. Crossed down the border. Yes, they were kind. Loved far and wide. They loved everybody far and wide. border. Try out your best. As long as you're trying, you'll never fail. Trecitos, no te mereces. A quien me vea diferente. Be proud of who you are, in other words. Left my buddies in Mexico. I'm super friendly, just watch me go. You tell them bullies, no more, not in my city, in El Paso. As long as you're trying, you'll never fail. No temeré a quien me vea diferente. She sends a kiss out to everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, I can hear you clapping. Yes? Okay, well, I want to just briefly tell you that was our first book. And I want to show you our second book. I'm looking at the time. We still have about 5 minutes. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, our second book is called How to Stop Armadillo Tears, and it's about Armando, the armadillo. Remember, he's Zoila's best amigo. This really should have been our pre-sequel book to the first, because it talks about Armando, and as you can see, he's gorgeous, but he's different. And when he goes out to the playground, he asks everybody, can you please be my friend? And of course, the boys and girls, they were not very nice, and they would tell him, no, you look like a dinosaur. What are you talking about? Or, oh no, you're too slow. You can't be our friend. So finally, he can't take it. And there's a picture in here, you all, that just breaks my heart. Because what happens when people turns us down after a while? Don't you feel like really sad? Well, that's his page right there. Let's see. Look at those tears. Oh my goodness, my poor Armando. So lucky for him, Zoila saw him crying from afar. So she goes up to him and says, why are you crying? And he tells her, I don't have a friend. Nobody wants to be my friend. And of course she says, I'll be your friend. And so she tells him about the 5 wows, and they become best of friends. And so at the end, she starts highlighting all his qualities, and then now everybody wants to be his friend. So that's what that book is about. And last but not least, just straight out of the oven, I don't even have a copy yet, but it's on Amazon. Let's see if you can see it. It's very tiny. I printed the cover, and it's called Zoila's 3 Tricks to Help Avoid Getting Sick. And it just came out of the oven, so it's available on Amazon, you all. So with all that having been said, I hope I have a few questions before I let you go, but thank you so very much, El Paso Community College Literary Fiesta members, for inviting me this year. I was very and am very proud and excited.
Does anybody have any questions? Evelyn, can you unmute yourself and ask a question?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
My question to you would be, why did you choose to write books for kids about bullying?
About bullying. Okay, very good question. I'm glad you asked it. The reason I decided to write books mainly on bullying was because, you see, when I was a school counselor 20 years, I'm not going to say that all the suicide outcries, of course, were because of bullying, but a lot of them were. And so because I know that I'm no longer at the schools, when I retired, I wasn't finished. And I said, you know what? I have to write books still that are going to impact kids and teach them what I used to when I was a school counselor in the schools, which was basically peer mediation skills. And that's what Zoila's 5 wows are. So I'm hoping and praying that from afar, I can still teach them what they need to do. But it's not just them. As you know, it's parents and teachers and everyone in our community. I'm sure you agree.
Monica Washington has a question. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. I just want to tell you that your message is everything that parents should be teaching their children at a young age. So I want to thank you so much for that. And, I have a friend of mine who had a friend just this week or last week. Her 11-year-old child committed suicide because of bullying. So unfortunately, it's not talked about so much, obviously, but it's something that's definitely needed to, teach your kids. A lot of kids know about bullying, but obviously to talk about the suicide aspect of it, especially when a child that's 11 or 10 years old is kind of like a touchy subject. So, I mean, it's definitely something that needs to be talked about in the way that you need, the way that you can with your own child, because everybody's parent-child communication is very different. But I just want to thank you because you almost made me cry. I'm just letting you know, and my condolences go out to your family also with the loss of your family member. Okay.
It's so
you're awesome. You're just that was just beautiful. I just want to tell you. And I don't have children, but I don't have children, but I'm really sensitive because I do have nieces and nephews. And when you have a 10-year-old child that talks about bullying, and your first instinct is to well, okay, I'm 48 years old, but back in my time, let me just go to that school and talk to that little kid, But now, kids have access to social media, and I told my nephew the other day, I was like, look, you have to just call us and talk to us about it. Don't be afraid. It's something you don't be embarrassed and don't be afraid, because nowadays it's all about communication on whatever level that it takes, and I'm just a firm believer in that. So your message was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. And if I may add, in relation to what you just said, that's exactly what I'm trying to promote, is that the importance of communication, and listening to your children and make time for them.
Children.
Yes, that's what I used to ask them, is like, have you told your parents? And guess what? Most of the time they would always say no. And I would say, why? Because I'm afraid. I'm afraid they're going to get mad. I'm afraid they're going to spank me. I'm afraid. And you can't have your child be afraid of you going to tell them something so important. So I'm very passionate about what I'm speaking about. I just didn't make it up, out of the blue. It's something that's in my heart. It's part of my experience.
Thank you so much.
Really quick one. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but are you on Instagram or something? I don't really go on Facebook because it's just everything that I just told you. I don't like that aspect of communication that they deal with there, but are you on Instagram so that I can follow you somewhere else?
Thank you. I'm at zoilathezebra.com, and I'm on Twitter and Facebook. Yes, you can look me up there.
Got it. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Juanita, for your presentation today. We really do appreciate it. And just reminding everybody else, there's still a lot of workshops that you can participate on. Thank you again, and have a great day, everyone.
My pleasure. Have a great day.